Hey, welcome. We are revisiting the Mania of WrestleMania Rewatch podcast. I'm Carlos.
And I'm Maria, your resident mark in training.
And today we're going to have a big episode for you guys. We kind of went off of our
We went
normal
rogue.
thing. Yeah. Life got in the way, but we are going to bring you what our first impressions of the WrestleMania 42 that we recently passed and where some of the storylines may be going. We'll also be talking about the HBK documentary, Becoming the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, and the Hulk Hogan documentary that is on Netflix.
We have so much to talk to you about, and we're looking forward to getting into all three of these hot topics.
Yeah,
the hottest of topics.
The hottest ones.
The mildest of topics.
Depending, if you got heartburn, you better get yourself some
Pepsid
or whatever you take to get that acid reflux down. And without any further delay, here we go. WrestleMania 42
was in Vegas.
Once again, after it was announced that it was going to be in Las Vegas. What did you think about that, first of all?
Well, this is our third time in Vegas.
Second time.
No.
What was it? Oh, yeah, the WrestleMania 9. So, but this is the back-to-back. So
Yes.
This is our second year in a row. The second WrestleMania event to be second 2 years in a row. Do you remember the other one was held at?
You know what? I don't. Do you?
Yes. WrestleMania 4 and 5 was held in Atlantic City in the Trump Plaza Hotel.
Oh, shit. Now that's a callback. So I have a question. Do you recall where we were supposed to be at this year then?
It was supposed to be in New Orleans.
I think it should have been in New Orleans. Had it been in New Orleans, we would have definitely been there. So that was disappointing that they were in Vegas this year. What about the turnout? We heard that
it was over 100,000 people.
Yes.
And night 2 got more people than night 1. I believe night 1 was only 50,000.
It was over April 18th and April 19th.
Right. And night 2 got over 55,000 people.
Wow.
Yeah. So we'll get into it here. So overall, first impressions, Maria. What do you think? We've been in a WrestleMania. We attended WrestleMania 40.
We did.
So comparing WrestleMania 40 to this, did it live up to the hype?
Did it live up to a WrestleMania? Did it live up to the hype? I thought this WrestleMania night 1 and 2 went well, but there was tons of controversy. It seems that people were over the advertisements.
Yes.
And then my latest thing that I've heard you say is that preferably instead of 2 nights, you think it should go back to a 1.
Yeah, and I'll get into it here. Like, to me, did it deliver the hype as someone who's been watching WrestleMania for the actual 42 plus years that it's been going? No, it did not deliver the hype. Ever since it's gone to 2 nights, one night's always been better than the other one. Sometimes they perfectly balance each night, which I believe WrestleMania 40 would probably be the last one where I felt like it was balanced. Mm-hmm. So to me, if I was to give a letter grade to this WrestleMania, like WrestleMania night 1 did not deliver. WrestleMania night 2 did deliver. And so I'd probably give it like a C.
So C, or like if I'm going to give it a score.
Yeah, maybe we'll just go.
I'm going to give it 1 out of 10 WrestleManias.
Yeah.
So night 1 was a 1 out of 5 WrestleManias, and night 2 was a 1 out of, 1 out of 10, 7 WrestleManias. Not a perfect 10, just a 7.
Yeah.
So the card comprised, it was a total of 13 matches.
Right. WrestleMania Saturday had the most matches here.
7.
Right. And then Sunday obviously had 6. Yes.
On night 2.
Thank you for the math.
You're welcome anytime.
All right,
I'm here with my calculator, my abacus.
Okay.
Counting how many fingers was just for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, do you have any moments that stick out to you in particular about this WrestleMania event? Like, I know that you are a little bit more of, I won't call you a casual fan because you've been watching these now, but you're more, I guess, more pop culture type of thing where, you know, like, I might not like it because I've been ingrained or I've been accustomed to a certain way that WrestleManias are presented. But what did you like more than I did?
Well, I was excited that we had a host, and we had a host that just retired, so we got to see John Cena in the ring again.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the ring announcer, I'm definitely a fan of Alicia Taylor, so I was excited to see her in the ring again as well. As far as the night itself, were you excited to see a return?
Well, we technically got a return on both nights, but one came with an announcement.
I would say I was surprised to see Paige return.
Well, yeah, but that had already been spoiled to me and to probably anyone who follows anyone on the internet by that Paige had already been reached out to, and there was already things that she was canceling the rest of her WrestleCon appearance.
Okay.
She was supposed to be there all weekend.
Right.
So when she signed, I believe she says she signed it either Thursday night or Friday morning.
Mm-hmm.
After she made her one WrestleCon appearance for that day, the rest of it was canceled because now she's a WWE superstar.
Wow. Again.
Yeah. As for me, the top 3 moment, I would take the Danhausen. When Danhausen comes out, that was a very fun moment. I'm sure everyone loved seeing the Miz getting kicked in his little Miz's and getting carried out by all the micro wrestlers or little people. I believe they said they were allowed to be called little people. Or no, I think the word was midgets.
At first, that moment was actually questionable to me. I was kind of curious to see who this character is, but as I see his banter with CM Punk, I'm really excited to see where his trajectory is.
No, CM Punk, yes. And with John Cena, that moment where John Cena looked at him as he was gonna do the 5-knuckle shuffle.
Okay. So we talk about WrestleManias, and when we see a WrestleMania intro, we're usually used to like maybe a ladder match or something like that. So what did you think about the Usos wrestling with a 6-man tag team match for that first match?
I thought it was okay. I did not like that it wasn't for the title at all.
You didn't agree with the vision?
No, that it has gone completely like sideways because Seth Rollins got hurt and Braun Breaker got hurt and then Bronson Reed got hurt. So now we're left with Logan Paul, who can do a lot of talking, but it doesn't get you the charismatic type of like I want to root for this guy. Kind of like how I told you that I'm a fan of Shawn Michaels, but it's not because I of his work, his ring work, or things like that. That's like the positive plus, but it's more because of his brash attitude, his cockiness. Where Logan Paul has that cockiness, but this is not like, yes, I like this guy even though he's a dick.
He's growing on me. It's hard.
So
I mean, all of those could be made into a joke. So, but that's not what we're here for right now. So. I did like the first match. I thought it was definitely a revisit. Good wrestling by Logan Paul, the Usos. Also LA
Knight.
Yep. And we saw IShowSpeed, who definitely, I think, redeemed himself during this WrestleMania.
Yeah, he did do that splash from the top at the end of the kind of give himself a little redemption arc. But
the last time we saw him in a WrestleMania, he got speared.
That was the Royal Rumble when he got speared. Yeah. But yes,
the last time I saw him.
That's the last time you saw him. Yes,
was when he got the ring. Speared. And definitely, I was kind of surprised, but our child was excited to see him.
Yeah, he was. Our child was talking a lot about IShowSpeed,
and I have questions about that. Wow. But anyway, I mean, he's just reaching to so many different audiences.
Yeah, the WWE and TKO are definitely reaching to a lot of audiences.
Okay, but I digress. So let's get back into your questions.
The moments. So I had that moment. Bianca coming back. That was the other return I teased. Bianca coming back and telling us that her finger surgery went well, and actually she is with child. So congratulations
to Bianca,
that couple. Yep. Maybe we'll get a little bit of behind the scenes. Maybe we'll have whatever their show was called.
Is their show still on?
Nah, it hasn't been renewed. I don't think so.
That was cute.
Yeah, so that was, and then my other top 3 moment was obviously Roman Reigns winning. to be the world heavyweight champion, being CM Punk, which is leading to that was my match of the night. The final match between CM Punk and Roman Reigns
for night 2.
For night 2.
But your match of night 1 wasn't Drew McIntyre.
No, Drew McIntyre versus Jacob Fatu.
Yes.
That was okay. It's just
was it expected?
It was expected. It's just weird because it's this whole thing, and we'll get into I'll get into spoilers if you haven't watched it, but you should probably watched it by now. But Monday Night Raw, Jacob Fatu comes out and he challenges Roman Reigns for the title.
Mm-hmm.
But if we rewind this back when Jacob Fatu got injured last July of 2025, he was challenging Cody Rhodes. So to me, it doesn't make sense that he's challenging Roman Reigns, because he was initially going to challenge Cody Rhodes, and that's when he got quote unquote taken out.
Wow. So the story isn't storying.
To me, it's not. They're not retconning this correctly. So it should be something. And the Usos did come out on Friday Night SmackDown and kind of try to nudge it for Jacob to go not challenge Roman Reigns, but to go challenge Cody, which I feel that it should happen like that. But was that your other match? Was that your match of the night?
I really enjoyed that match. Also, do you have any opinions about that Gunther and Seth Rollins match?
That was the best overall match of night 1.
Really?
But I do not like the interference. Did I enjoy seeing Braun Breaker run all the way down the ramp to spear Seth Rollins? Yes. But now I feel like this has taken away any type of. Remember, I think when we did the John Cena farewell episode, I felt like they were hyping up, they were building up. Like Gunther had beaten John Cena.
So you thought it was
clean.
Go somewhere?
No, I thought he needed to beat Seth Rollins clean, and with him having the run in, it takes away any of the bad guy natural progression of being that big bad threat that he tapped out John Cena, that he tapped out AJ Styles, and then this way he did tap out Seth Rollins, but he technically passed out because he had been speared. So that's the only thing where I felt it kind of failed the character that they were building with Gunther.
Any of the ladies matches, because it looks like there was a total of 3. We had a fatal 4-way.
Mm-hmm.
We had a singles match, Becky Lynch, AJ Lee, who lost. Her and her husband lost.
Yes. With the ladies matches, I kind of I would have liked it to see it in reverse. I understand that Becky Lynch winning again means that Becky Lynch can work with other people. But when we went to go see the Elimination Chamber, they gave AJ the win over Becky Lynch in her quote unquote adopted hometown. And I just felt like if they had flipped it, like I had mentioned in our podcast, that episode that we recorded in February, or in March, that if they had just had Becky win, they would have made a bigger moment. And I think that probably if they keep this moment in night 1, it gives more of a better pop to night 1. It makes night 1 a little bit more tolerable that AJ beats Becky Lynch at a WrestleMania.
Okay. Yeah, I can appreciate your comments. So what about that Liv Morgan, Stephanie Vicker?
It was good. Once again, I just would have preferred not to have a run-in. She had to have the run-in, especially I think they were building like some type of animosity or like friction, because Raquel kept going for all these titles, but Liv Morgan kept getting involved. And now it feels like we just forgot all about that. Or it's just on the back burner until they find something better.
So with that, we're going to jump into night 2, which I believe was our favorite night of WrestleMania 1 and 2. And I am definitely a big fan of this Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar. Not just because Brock was defeated. Not just because I'm not that much of a fan of Brock Lesnar. Not just because I'm still upset at Brock Lesnar defeating The Undertaker. I was happy to see him retire again.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it seems like from my ear to the streets or the interweb or the interwebs.
Okay, Dr. Dre.
It seems like people were surprised that he retired, including Paul Heyman.
Yeah, it wasn't anything that it looks like it was actually known, because even Brock Lesnar, when he's about to hug Paul, gives up the X, and that's supposed to be their speak of that this isn't this is real and this is what's happening. Like if someone gets injured, you'll see the ref or somebody even throw up that X. It's not because they're part of the Generation X, it's because they're trying to tell you something happened or something's real.
Sometimes I do that after dinner. I'm like, I'm done.
So what about any of this match? Anything else that got to you, like the ladder match, Sammy versus
I
Trick
just want
Williams?
to talk about the pop that Oba had when he came walking out. The pop was huge for him. So looking forward to seeing Oba Femi, his storyline, and where WWE takes him.
Right.
Because he was pretty hot during night 2 of WrestleMania. And we talk about people with bigger physiques being brawler type wrestlers, which to me, Brock Lesnar has a lot of F5s, but not a lot else in his repertoire. So I think Oba is a great wrestler, and I really enjoyed that first match. That was one of my favorites of night 2.
Okay. Anything else that sticks out to you about night 2 or about this pay-per-view?
Did you like the Penta, the 6-pack ladder match?
That was like, it was a match of the night for me, but I've always enjoyed a ladder match at a WrestleMania, whether it was the Hardy Boys, which we recently put a short about at WrestleMania 2000, the Hardy Boys versus the Dudleys versus Edge and Christian.
Okay.
Or when they started incorporating the Money in the Bank ladder matches into WrestleMania. Or when Zack Ryder, or now known as Matt Cardona, wrestling for the Intercontinental Championship that he won. So I enjoy ladder matches. They're very well done at WrestleMania. I have not yet seen a WrestleMania ladder match that I did not enjoy.
I agree.
This is one that it didn't stick out to me like this is a great WrestleMania, one of the greatest ladder matches in WrestleMania history, but it was certainly entertaining. And I felt like maybe they should have flipped them, but like have that start off, but that's fine. Like it worked either way.
It was. And the other match for me overnight 2 is Rhea Ripley versus Jade Cargill. Both very strong wrestlers, strong women in the ring, good wrestling, and I thought it was a solid match that went about 10 minutes, 8 seconds. To me, I'm not sure, but we got a new look for Rhea. So
she was actually wearing white, all white, and from all the time, I believe it's always been the black.
So I was kind of surprised to see her in that gear. Either way, I thought it was a pretty good match. So that's a recommended match for me. And then, of course, the main event.
Working out, putting up the ones to acknowledge our tribal chief, Roman Reigns, putting another championship and giving us possibly another run at the bloodline, it looks like, what they're teasing.
So were you surprised that CM Punk was defeated? Because I was kind of on the fence about this. I wasn't sure if it would be his night because he's one part of the main event. And I would assume, I'm like, well, maybe this is his time to shine. He is going to be a champion.
No, I get what you're getting at, but I think CM Punk has been a champion for, if not November, since October, whenever Seth Rollins had to vacate the title.
Okay.
And he's only had like maybe 3 title offenses, and 2 of them were against Finn Balor. One was like taking place in actually Ireland, and then the one that we seen in Chicago, and I can't remember who the third one was about. So obviously we need, as much as CM Punk's promos were attacking Roman Reigns for being a part-timer, CM Punk is just as much as a part-timer and not defending the title as Roman Reigns is probably not, like, we've already seen 1 week, so maybe we'll get some more. Roman Reigns is the WWE has released a schedule of how long Roman Reigns, and he's actually going to be making the trip over to Europe when they head over. So we're going to see a lot more of Roman Reigns.
Okay. And then my question to you is, a lot of people are complaining that there was just too much advertising, too much celebrity, not enough wrestling for this WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
And my question is, do you agree?
I can't say there was a lot of ads for us because we use a VPN. If you have not get on the bandwagon of using a VPN to view this through Netflix rather than ESPN, I highly recommend that you do so. So you do not get the inundation of ads and ESPN filler that you normally get when you're watching it through there.
VP Woo.
Yeah, VP Woo. But the other thing about celebrities, like, I understand the hardcore fans being upset about celebrities and more than likely injecting themselves in feuds like a Pat McAfee, which totally made that Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes match go from worse to even like terrible. But WrestleMania is founded on that. Yeah. WrestleMania 1, we had Mr. T. Yeah. We had Cyndi Lauper. Yes. We had Muhammad Ali.
One of my favorite celebrities, Cyndi Lauper, including her music videos.
It's always been a joint venture between pop culture and celebrities. And you can't really get that upset because we wouldn't have WrestleMania if it was.
They work hand in hand.
Yeah. So some of the celebrities don't work out and some of them do. And that's why we still have Logan Paul. There's still people who want Bad Bunny to come back and wrestle.
Yes.
So
who did really well. I think that's part of the allure as well. So all right.
So with that, what's your final grade? Do you also we will give our in-depth WrestleMania breakdown of what worked on our matches, what didn't work on the matches, and why we recommend a casual viewer return.
Because that's what we do.
Yeah.
And if you haven't subscribed, do. If you haven't left a comment, please do, because we read all your comments, even the mean ones.
Yeah, even the mean ones. So with that, giving a little brief, any other, like, what was your overall grade? Like me, like I give it like a C.
Oh, we'll go ahead with the C grading system. I also give it a C. Is it an A? No, I thought we were okay. And I'm so tempted, like you said, take it from the 2 to the 1. So,
all right.
Yep.
And with this, we get into a documentary that just came up, the HBK, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels becoming Shawn Michaels documentary on Peacock. Yes. This is about an hour and a half documentary.
Only.
Yes, only an hour and a half documentary with chronicling, I guess, Shawn Michaels beginning with the company and anything like that. So, Maria, before we get into this a little bit more, you obviously, this is the whole premise of our podcast. We're not a hardcore fan of wrestling. You knew of wrestling. You knew of the WWE, now the WWE. But you've grown to be a fan of Shawn Michaels through these revisits.
Confession, everyone.
Yeah. So what makes Shawn Michaels special to you?
My confession. Give me your confession. Yeah. I, like he said, did not grow up with prime Shawn Michaels. I met Shawn through this podcast, through revisiting. And this documentary hit a little differently. So I thought it was good, but I was surprised at the length. And I think Shawn Michaels deserves longer than an hour to cover, an hour and a half to cover his growth, his trajectory as a wrestler. And Hogan got like what was it, a 4-part series?
Yes,
I thought Netflix. That deserved a little bit more time. So I certainly think that he deserves longer than the hour and a half that they gave him. I think he changed what a main event wrestler looks like.
Okay, yeah, definitely. I agree with you. And I feel like that's why it's special. Like when I was growing up, um, all the wrestlers were like superheroes.
Mm-hmm.
Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, Big John Studd,
Right.
uh Lex Luger, Sid Justice, they were all ripped.
Yeah.
So Shawn Michaels was one that was a little bit
No
more
slouch.
slender, but he was shorter.
Yes.
He wasn't 6'9". He wasn't 7'5".
Handsome.
Or anything like that. So
Yeah.
it kind of made you believe that you too can also be like Shawn Michaels.
Me?
And yeah, not anymore, but
Oh, wow.
I mean,
At one time, I could have been a Shawn Michaels.
yeah.
Okay, so what hit me during this documentary? The flaws, the ego, the redemption. It wasn't just all of his greatest hits, and I appreciated that. So, if you have not seen this documentary, there's one of many, but watch it. We see the confidence that he has as a wrestler starting out. We all know, and if you don't know, then you can watch this documentary to see that he was not only or always an Uno, he was part of a duo. He was part of a tag team.
Yes, the Midnight Rockers when they were in the All Wrestling Alliance, working with Vern Gagne, which is funny because Vern Gagne also got the whole Hulk Hogan thing later on, which we'll touch base more on that when we get to that documentary.
Do you think it did his legacy justice?
Who?
Shawn Michaels?
I think we're past that now. So this documentary did touch on Shawn Michaels' early years,
right?
But it didn't get in depth into it. Like we watched two documentaries, to be honest. There's one on YouTube from like the dark side of Shawn Michaels that we watched that got more in depth in Shawn Michaels' upbringing, about how he wanted to be a football player first, and eventually he did fall in love with watching wrestling and wanted to become a wrestler. But I feel like this half of it, or a little bit less than half, was more dedicated to him behind the scenes.
Right. It doesn't sanitize him.
It shows you him training the talent up and how his brain works.
We get the real,
and then how he's able to help people in NXT, whether it's All Ego Ethan Page, Trick Williams, Javon Evans, just people coming up to him and asking for advice, and how they're saying that Shawn Michaels very personable, he's very open, and which is a complete 360, 180 from what he was when he was coming up in the business,
right?
Where he was very young when he started. I believe he started when he was 18.
Lots of drugs.
And then eventually he just wanted to party.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of those people back in those days, back in the 80s. Early 90s,
70s. I mean, I think that's my expectation. I hate to say it, and I don't know if that's just like the times that we grew in the 80s or the movies that we watched, but I think
it was like a very party hard mentality.
Not us, but it seems like a lot of people were doing a lot of different things in bathrooms, and if you were in partying hard, then what was the point? But he gets himself on the right track.
Yeah, he meets his wife, and I like how they touched up on it, where he's still recovering from his WrestleMania 16, no, 14. Yeah, 98, 15, where he loses to Stone Cold.
Right.
So he's recovering on trying to become a normal person. He finds his bride to be. He meets her in January, marries her in March, and she ends up being pregnant with their first child. But she doesn't quite know Shawn, and she thinks like he's just taking drugs, uppers and pills and downers just because he likes to party. And she's like, "Oh no, he's like this all the time."
All the time is a part of the documentary. Like, this is not just a one-time thing or an every once in a while. This is like all the time.
Yeah, so I like that they got like everyone mostly talking about Shawn that had been touched by Shawn's career, except for Marty Jannetty.
Yeah. And why is that?
I don't know. Maybe Marty Jannetty didn't want to
fall out.
Yeah, Marty Jannetty didn't want to talk or anything like that. But they got who did they get? There's like a cavalcade of celebrities or WWE who's who. They got well, obviously Undertaker. We get Stone Cold for a little bit. We get obviously I mentioned all the NXT people. Right. We get Matt Bloom. We get some people behind the scenes. We get Shawn Michaels' kids in the documentary, whom he actually gets to work in the business with them. His daughter becomes a makeup artist down in NXT, and his son is doing like graphics and some type of creative artwork in the business too. So,
you think he's still the showstopper of wrestling documentaries?
Was this the showstopper of wrestling documentaries?
Or do you think they could do better?
No, I think, like you mentioned, do I feel like this documentary did his legacy justice? Like, if you want to get like a condensed version, like the Cliff Notes version of Shawn's career,
I agree,
and where it is now, then yes. Yeah. But if you want to get like something all encompassing, like Shawn Michaels beginning to end, like every step by step, whether he's wrestling in a backyard or if he's wrestling out of the AWA, grinding his way, trying to make his way to WWE, and then they party too hard because that's what the other documentary showed us.
Right.
And then they get released because they were partying too hard, and then they had to go back to the AWA before they make their return back into the WWE, which then Shawn never leaves again until he has to retire in '98. I think you have to combine both of those to get the best overall view of Shawn and his journey, because even though, and they mentioned this in the documentary for Peacock, when he comes back, he has that return match with Triple H at, I believe, at SummerSlam 2002.
Yes.
Triple H is talking about how he feels like Shawn did not miss a beat. And that kind of reminds me of when people were talking about, and they make the comparison also, it's like Shawn Michaels, like the Michael Jordan of wrestling.
Yeah.
He comes back, he doesn't miss a beat. Like Michael Jordan when he came back after his short retirement too.
Some wrestlers have careers, some have eras, and Shawn Michaels definitely has eras.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he has some longevity and length, and now he's cross training.
Now he's training the youth of NXT and having them come over and training them on how to be showstoppers.
That's right.
And how to become Mr. or Mrs. WrestleMania.
Yes.
So with this, is there anything else that stood out to you or gave you a different type of perspective?
Like I said, from that duo to the Uno, his greatness was definitely visible. It's just like you said, that comparison to Michael Jordan. Some people are just meant to be like that person, that star, and that is definitely Shawn Michaels. He is Mr. Personality because his personality is so huge, so awesome, so incredible. I'm still like a major fan of him and his wrestling, and happy to see that we were able to cover those previous WrestleManias that he's been in.
Okay. Now, do you feel, you as the casual viewer that only knew of Shawn Michaels pretty much through WrestleMania matches that you watch, feel that you could recommend this either to someone like you who hasn't really watched much of Shawn's matches or someone newer to the wrestling fan?
I would say, as far as rewatch value for me, go back and catch how much foreshadowing there was. I love to see the origin story for anyone. And you can see just that confidence. And you can see like this guy, he's going to be a star. And despite it all, he is, and he remains, you know, he keeps that stardom. He still has that star power. Everyone's excited to see a Shawn Michaels, but you can see like, hey, this is is a special person, definitely a great wrestler. So watch it.
And as for me, what stood out to me or what surprised me is, as much as I'm enamored with Shawn Michaels' personality
right,
and his confidence, they talk about how when he had his first championship run, that he felt like it was a weight on his shoulders, and that actually the heavyweight championship when he won it at WrestleMania 12 from Bret Hart at that point, the Iron Man match where he comes down at a zip line and things like that, that he felt the pressure of just being in demand. Like he had to go to the Make-A-Wish people, he had to go visit hospitals, he had to go make the press circuit. And for some reason Shawn says that he's okay with being the asshole or being out there and talking shit and things like that, but he'll make the time because people are there to see him, which is something we hear in another documentary too. But that he'll be there to make people laugh and make people smile because they're there to see him.
I think
so. I like that kind of thing where it's like he knew the person he had to be,
right,
but that wasn't him, and that was kind of eating him inside. So I was kind of surprised because of the way of his confidence and his bravado and his cockiness that he portrays on screen, that he would actually want that more, that he would thrive, but that was actually his undoing in his first title run.
I think Shawn as a wrestler at that point of time was also the prototype for a lot of today's WWE wrestlers. Like you mentioned before we used to see like these superhero type wrestlers. So I see him definitely moving into that next era of what we see as a wrestler today. So watch it.
Yeah.
No
I
additional
said,
notes, just super kicks.
And if you wanted to just get like a Cliff Notes version of Shawn's career, like if you wanted to catch up, this would probably be the perfect way to actually get a glimpse, get a taste of what Shawn Michaels is, why he means so much to NXT and to Triple H, and how he is sharing his knowledge and making sure that we have some great sports entertainers to come.
Like Carlos said, it does get juicy. We get to see some click dynamics. Kevin Nash.
Oh yeah.
Who he and I shared the same hairstyles during that time period. Also a big fan of Kevin. Scott Hall. We get to see Triple H, his friend. But like Carlos mentioned, the dark side of the ring.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it in the description of our podcast.
Goes into more depth of what their friendship is and how Triple H keeps him, pushing forward. They talk and touch on the infamous Montreal Screwjob, which we cover in length as well. And there's multiple documentaries about that. Bret, I used to be a huge fan, but every time I see Bret, you're a little crabby, and we need to move forward at a certain point. So the documentary also touches on that as well.
So with that, you got anything else you want to add to this?
That's really what I have. We talked about his injury. You covered that. We talked about his faith and the reinvention, and how he's back on his career journey as a trainer. So I think we touched it all.
Okay.
Touch.
And with that, we get into the Immortal Hulk Hogan documentary on Netflix. This was a 4-part series. Each episode spanned around maybe 45 minutes to an hour. And they all broke down each of the Hulkamania eras of Hulk's career.
Okay.
The first part takes us from when he was born to when he finally broke through in the business.
Right.
The second era takes us pretty much from when Hulkamania started running wild at WrestleMania to the downfall around WrestleMania 9.
Can we catch this segment? What you gonna rewatch, brother?
Guys, if you heard that and you want me to rename this segment, what you gonna rewatch, brother? Put it in the comments below and let us know.
Oh, sorry. sorry. Okay, you were on really good. You were
So
you were just really good, and I just
you just had to get in there and steal my spotlight.
I stole your thunder. Okay, go on.
So part 3 takes us to his his like not really a downfall, but the creation or the idea of Terry coming up with, or getting approached about Hogan Knows Best, the fallout from Gawker, and all those other things. And then the 4th is Hulk Hogan's aftermath from his divorce, his 3rd wife. We skip over the 2nd wife, and
like,
the
what happens to
multiple
the second one?
the multiple surgeries that he has, and the last one that leads to his demise. So Maria, you were a Hulk Hogan fan when this documentary, or when we started this podcast, and we watched the first 9 WrestleManias that had Hulk Hogan in there. Do you think that this changes your point of view of first Terry Bollea and then secondly Hulk Hogan?
It does. Hulk Hogan and who is it? I'm blanking on his name. Triple H definitely talks about this towards the end of the segment where he had his ups and downs. Cody Rhodes is also in this documentary, and he also talks about some of the ups and downs that he had as well. Not everybody was on board with his politics or his opinions, and I can say that about myself as well. Growing up, there was no bigger personality than a Hulk Hogan. We all grew up with those toys, and the red and the yellow is iconic. Triple H also discusses wrestling without a Hulk Hogan personality, and as we can see, watching wrestling with these larger than life personalities, the crowd falls in love and pushes these characters forward. So Hulk Hogan means a lot of things to a lot of different people. And like any person, and this is not me, like it's not, he definitely had ups and downs. Did this documentary cover in depth any of those ups and downs? It didn't. And I think his daughter Brooke, is it?
Yes.
Says that 98% of this documentary was not real. We get a couple of touching moments with Linda and his son in the documentary. But like we said before with the Shawn Michaels, could this have been longer than a 4-part series? Yes, because there's just so much to this person. So with that said, do you believe that this is worth a rewatch as far as this documentary about his life? Or do you think there's documentaries out there that are better?
Oh, I haven't seen another documentary about Hulk Hogan.
Okay.
So before we get into our recommendation, let me tell you about the wrestling impact that Hulk Hogan has, or what I felt the documentary did well.
Okay.
It did well. It showed us the impact of Hulk Hogan's character in the wrestling business. From the moment that he is brought in from AWA, from Vern Gagne's, which is what I mentioned from the previous review with Shawn Michaels,
right,
just a little bit ago. Vern Gagne had already worked on getting Terry built up as a wrestler. He gave him the name of Terry Boulder, but when he comes into the WWF, which Vince Sr. owned at the time, he is the one that gave him the moniker of Hulk Hogan, the Incredible Hulk Hogan, which I believe we went into when we did our WrestleMania 1 episode about almost 3 years ago now. Anyway, it does well building what they did, because they built on the steam that Hulk Hogan, that Terry had built up in Rocky 3.
Okay.
So they did very well in pushing them forward. But after a while, it shows the demise. Like, this starts in 83 when he beats the Iron Sheik in Madison Square Garden. WrestleMania 1 is in 1984. And we get this push until 85 5 is WrestleMania 2, 3, 86. So 87, so it's 4 or 5 years later, where we don't get Hulk Hogan having the title. Right. And that's when they have the WrestleMania 4 open tournament title that Macho Man Savage wins. Mm-hmm. And then WrestleMania 5, we have Randy losing to Hulk Hogan after the Mega Powers. Mm-hmm. But it was a good cap where eventually Vince knew, like, in 3 or 4 years, you needed a new champion. Right. And he kept trying to find it. And eventually, it just shows you that as much as Vince tried to find someone else, because Hulk Hogan was probably garnering a lot of money, mm-hmm. he always had to fall back on him. Mm-hmm. Because that's how great his character was. Right. He had T-shirts, he had wrestling buddies, he had that cartoon Rockin' Wrestling. Yes. He had all the merch. He had they showed the commercial of Right Guard of him painting. Mm-hmm. He had movies. As much as the movie sucked, he still had movies. He had Mr. Nanny, Suburban Commando, whatever that wrestling movie he made that I can't remember the name of, where he had Zeus, the human wrecking machine. Right. But he showed you what a wrestler could do, that they could really transcend
wrestling
beyond the mat,
right,
and into being a box office star, mm-hmm. or finding something else, like The Rock, who has countless amount of box office records. John Cena. Yeah. But we also have Brock Lesnar. He started off as a wrestler, even though he doesn't have a collegiate wrestling mm-hmm. Background. Yeah. But he was able to transcend into the combat sports like the UFC and win their titles.
Right.
So I think it just showed you that wrestling can just be
Batista.
Batista.
Raymond's favorite wrestler.
That it could just be a stepping stone. And if you have the right charisma, if you have the right attitude, if you have the right people talking to you, mm-hmm. you too can break through. True. So I feel like that documentary did everything well.
Right. Yeah.
And portraying that. Now, did it answer any questions you might have had about Hulk Hogan or Terry Bollea? Because the reason I'm saying it like this is because we get this whole thing, which the documentary brings up, that Hulk Hogan, it looks like from what I'm gathering here, is that he could not separate Hulk Hogan, the character,
that was painful,
from Terry Bollea, the man. So is there anything else that you wanted to know about either one of those two personas?
What are as far as the two personas, we get to see the inside of the life of Terry Bollea. Just a little glimpse into it. We didn't get to see the whole piece. Like you said, his second wife was left out completely during this documentary. And what I did see was a lot of love between him and Linda, his first wife, who met when they were young and were together for some time. That story to me is tragic because you see how they pull apart and were never able to reconcile. But towards the end of their lives, they still have a lot of love for each other.
Oh, Linda. Yeah, Linda always talk. Linda, when she's doing her interviews, is always talking about how he was the love of her life.
And she was also the love of his life. I mean, it's very obvious when he speaks of her. And when he would talk about that moment, which is like he looks back, and that was the best time of his life, is being with his wife and growing up with his children. So that definitely made me shed some tears towards the end of this documentary, because I thought that was very special and very telling about what's important for him. So.
Yeah, and as for me, I feel like they could have gotten more people. Like Maria mentioned, we don't get his second wife, which is about 10 years of his life.
Yeah.
We don't get any lines or any excerpts, anything from Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
Any good stories.
Who was with like Hulk Hogan in the beginning of his career, especially in the AWA, because they were the Boulder Brothers together.
Yes.
We get one little bit of snippet of when he had his first match with Brian B. Blair when he started wrestling, but nothing else besides Jimmy Hart talking and things along those lines. I would have loved to seen what Brutus the Barber Beefcake. We get mention of Hulk Hogan's older brother.
Yes.
And I was
It's
telling
brief.
Maria that we actually had his nephew in the NWO, Horace Hogan. And that's another Hogan that we could have interviewed that we probably could have got more information on. Besides Brooke. Brooke is obviously the one that is obviously more missing. Nick does a lot of the talking because he was closer to his dad as he was getting up there with age.
Right.
And as we see through all the surgeries that he actually had an electronic device embedded in his bag so it would stop the electrical signals going to his brain to signal that he was in pain.
Yes.
Like who talked him into those type of surgeries? Like I'm not saying that I am a lawyer or anything like that, but Brooke, Nick, anyone should keep continuing to go after the doctors who recommended some of these surgeries because they seem very suspect on that.
So I mean, the documentary frames Hulkamania almost like a superhero origin story. And they are building him up, and they pass over some of the more important parts and maybe some of the darker parts of Hulk Hogan or Terry Bollea. So I think that's what was missing from this documentary for me. And as I mentioned, his daughter advised as well that there was very little truth to the story that we saw. So I have questions.
Right. So do you feel like this documentary handled the subject of Terry Bollea or Hulk Hogan very well? Or like, do you recommend that a dedicated fan or a casual viewer like us or you watch this documentary?
A dedicated fan or a casual viewer could watch this and have some takeaways. You mentioned this before, but to me, it's like you see that he was not able to separate from his character, and this was the problem. Also, you can see that he's like, well, the fans don't care for me. I'm going to turn this into a heel opportunity. And you have to know when to fold them. And you have to know, like Carlos mentioned about those surgeries, when to stop. We see Hulk in his 70s talking about barely being able to walk well because of all the pain that he's in, and he's walking with a cane. So do I love to see wrestlers wrestle? Do I love to see those topes? Do I love to see those sharpshooters and all those moves? Yes. But at a certain point, what's the cost? And we see the cost on him. Unfortunately, he went in for a neck surgery, and I was very surprised when I heard of his passing. And I was, sad when I heard that he passed away. What was it, just last year?
Yes, July of last year.
In 2025. We're in 2026 now, if you're watching this or if you're listening to this. I had seen a video of him in a Men's Health magazine where they covered his fitness, his recommendations, his technique. We all are aware of the Hulk Hogan trials. And we talked about this before. I think that's just a certain part of, and I don't want to just like brush this away like it's nothing, because it's definitely serious. But we know that there was steroid use. There was an introduction to steroid use, and it was very big across the F now E. Yes. So we know that's a part of that legacy as well, and they touch on that. Mm-hmm. But was Hulk Hogan at the end of the day lightning in a bottle? He was. There's no bigger character that you can think of when you're thinking along the lines of these huge personalities like Hulk Hogan, Mr. T. Those are the bigger than life personalities that we grew up with during our childhood.
Yeah. So as for me, if you are a casual fan, and you want to jump in to be like, what was the hype about Hulk Hogan? Why is everyone that I know that might be a wrestling fan, why were they crying about Hulk Hogan?
Right.
This is the documentary for you to see. Now, if you're a longtime fan like I am, you really don't need to see this unless you you're not gonna get any tidbits that you already know unless you want to know how Hulk Hogan's upbringing was,
Right.
Or what else that they might have showed, or what happened, why his TNA run would probably ran a little bit shorter than it probably was, because he had all those surgeries.
Right.
He couldn't wrestle, he couldn't move anymore, but he needed money because he's just got divorced from Linda. So yeah, I can't recommend this for a long time fan, but if you're a casual fan and you want to know what the hype of Hulk Hogan was, yeah, go ahead. If you have 4.5 hours, 4 hours, 45 minutes, go ahead and watch it. And with that, that's the end of our episode.
I will say, because this is a good one, most legends have a peak, but Hulk Hogan somehow had an expansion pack.
Yeah, he was in our wrestling lives for about 15 years and then had an encore after that WrestleMania 18 match that he had with The Rock for another maybe 3 or 4 more years. So,
yeah. So I mean, politics, his big ego, the controversies, there's still articles being published. Go take a look, read them. Let us know what you think about them. Put your comments.
Put your thoughts in the comments below.
Yeah.
And with that, thank you very much for joining us. If you made it this far and you like our banter, our good looks, our episode formats, we are working on our WrestleMania 38. We will hopefully have it soon.
Oh, should we do this?
I forgot we still had another WrestleBand to reveal. So let's go ahead and get into that. Maria, go ahead and open it.
Wait, is it over here?
Yeah, right there.
Over here.
Yeah, let's see what the flat band gets.
Right here.
Yes.
Crunch, crunch.
Crunch, crunch. For you ASMR people out there. And
it's open, just like a bag of chips.
Yeah. What do we get? Oh, I forgot there's paper on there. What is that? Oh, we got a tag team championship belts. So, all right, let's see if we can get more of these Walmart exclusive slap bands of WWE titles.
Slap.
We have the NXT title, and now we have one half of a WWE
tag I think it's title. Fitting that we get the tag team title, because what are we in this? We're a tag team.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us. If you want to follow us on any type of social media, go ahead and do it at Blue Sky, Twitter, X, at Revisiting Mania. If you want to shoot us an email, you're more than welcome to at revisitingmania@gmail.com. And we'll see you later. Oh. Ow.